fear of being alone, understanding and overcoming monophobia. Hello there, and welcome to today's exploration of one of humanity's most primal fears. If you're new here, consider hitting that subscribe button to join our community as we delve into the depths of human psychology and learn how to overcome our deepest anxieties. Today, we're tackling a fear that affects millions across the globe. The fear of being alone, also known as monophobia or autophobia. The silent epidemic. Imagine this. Sarah, a 32-year-old marketing executive from Boston, lives in a beautiful downtown apartment with breathtaking city views. She has a successful career, financial stability, and by all external measures, a perfect life. Yet every evening when she closes her apartment door, a wave of panic washes over her. Her heart races, her palms sweat, and an overwhelming sense of dread consumes her. The thought of spending the night alone in her apartment feels unbearable. This isn't just ordinary loneliness. It's monophobia, the intense, irrational fear of being alone. And Sarah is far from alone in her struggle. According to recent studies, approximately 1 in 5 Americans report feeling extreme anxiety when faced with solitude. In our hyper-connected world, where constant communication is just a tap away, our ability to be comfortable alone has dramatically decreased. Yet understanding and overcoming this fear is crucial for psychological well-being and personal growth. What exactly is monophobia? Monophobia goes beyond simply preferring company. It's characterized by severe anxiety, panic attacks, and physical symptoms triggered by being alone or even the thought of solitude. People with monophobia might avoid staying home alone at all costs, feel extreme anxiety when loved ones leave, experience physical symptoms like rapid heartbeat, shortness of breath, or dizziness when alone, make decisions based primarily on avoiding solitude, maintain unhealthy relationships just to avoid being alone. Take Michael from Denver, for example. At 28, he's never spent a night alone in his apartment. When his roommate travels, Michael either stays with friends or invites someone to stay over. He's turned down job opportunities in other cities because the thought of moving somewhere without his established social network triggers debilitating panic attacks. The psychology behind the fear. To understand monophobia, we need to recognize that humans are inherently social creatures. Our ancestors survived by banding together. Isolation often meant danger. This evolutionary wiring still influences us today. However, modern monophobia typically stems from a combination of factors. 1. Attachment patterns. Dr. Elizabeth Morgan, a clinical psychologist from New York University, explains, many people with monophobia developed insecure attachment styles in childhood. If your caregivers were inconsistently available, or if separation was traumatic, you might develop a deep-seated fear that alone equals abandoned. Consider Jessica's story. Growing up in Seattle, her mother struggled with depression and would sometimes be emotionally unavailable for days. As an adult, Jessica experiences panic attacks whenever her husband leaves for business trips. Her childhood experiences programmed her brain to associate being alone with emotional abandonment. 2. Traumatic experiences. For others, monophobia develops after traumatic events experienced while alone. Robert, a 45-year-old teacher from Chicago, developed severe monophobia after experiencing a home invasion while living alone. Even years later, with a sophisticated security system installed, he cannot stay alone in his house without experiencing severe panic attacks. 3. Societal conditioning. Our society often portrays being alone as undesirable or even pathetic. Think about how media depicts the lonely person, usually as someone to pity. This cultural messaging reinforces the idea that being alone is something to fear rather than an opportunity for self-discovery. 4th, underlying mental health conditions. Monophobia frequently co-occurs with other anxiety disorders, depression, or dependent personality disorder. These conditions can amplify fears around solitude and make treatment more complex. The cycle of avoidance. What makes monophobia particularly challenging is the cycle of avoidance it creates. When someone with monophobia avoids being alone, they experience immediate relief from anxiety. This reinforces the avoidance behavior, making it more likely they'll avoid solitude in the future. Amanda, a 36-year-old accountant from Phoenix, describes it this way: "I know logically there's nothing to fear about being in my apartment alone, but the anxiety is so overwhelming that I'll do anything to avoid it. I've taken on extra work shifts, gone to events I had no interest in, and even stayed in unhealthy relationships, all to avoid facing my empty apartment. This avoidance prevents people from learning that they can actually handle being alone, which would naturally reduce their anxiety over time. Instead, the fear grows stronger with each avoided situation." The hidden costs of monophobia. The impact of monophobia extends far beyond moments of panic. It can significantly limit life choices and overall well-being. 1. Relationship consequences. People with monophobia often become overly dependent on partners, friends, or family members. This dependency can strain relationships and lead to unhealthy dynamics. James, a 41-year-old from Miami, admits, "My fear of being alone destroyed my marriage. I couldn't let my wife have any time to herself. If she wanted to visit her sister for the weekend, I'd either insist on coming along or make her feel so guilty about leaving me that she'd cancel. Eventually, she couldn't take the pressure anymore." 2. Career limitations. Monophobia can restrict professional growth when people turn down opportunities that might temporarily separate them from their support network. 3. Personal development barriers. Perhaps most significantly, avoiding solitude prevents people from developing comfort with themselves and their own thoughts, a crucial aspect of psychological maturity. As philosopher Paul Tillich noted, language has created the word loneliness to express the pain of being alone, and it has created the word solitude to express the glory of being alone. People with monophobia never get to experience the glory and growth that can come from healthy solitude. Breaking free, overcoming monophobia. The good news is that monophobia, like other phobias, responds well to treatment. Here are effective approaches for overcoming the fear of being alone. 1. Cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT. CBT is considered the gold standard for treating phobias. It helps identify and challenge irrational thoughts about being alone while gradually facing feared situations. Dr. Thomas Reynolds, a clinical psychologist from San Francisco, explains, "Through CBT, we help clients recognize catastrophic thinking patterns like, 'If I'm alone, something terrible will happen,' or 'I can't handle being by myself.' Then, we test these beliefs through controlled exposure to solitude." 2. Gradual exposure therapy. This involves creating a hierarchy of feared situations related to being alone and gradually facing them, starting with the least anxiety-provoking. For example, someone might start by spending 15 minutes alone in their apartment while a friend waits in the building lobby. As comfort increases, they might progress to spending an hour alone, then an evening, and eventually an entire weekend. Melissa, a 29-year-old from Austin who overcame severe monophobia, shares, "My therapist created a ladder of alone situations. I started by just sitting in a different room from my roommate for 20 minutes. It was hard at first, but each successful step built my confidence. 6 months later, I took a solo weekend trip, something I never imagined possible." 3. Mindfulness and grounding techniques. Learning to manage anxiety in the moment is crucial for breaking the fear cycle. Techniques include deep breathing exercises, 4-7-8 method, inhale for 4 counts, hold for 7, exhale for 8. Body scan meditation to reduce physical tension. Grounding techniques like the 5-4-3-2-1 method. Identify 5 things you can see, 4 things you can touch, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste. 4. Reframing solitude. Changing how you view being alone is powerful. Instead of seeing solitude as deprivation, it can be reframed as an opportunity for self-discovery, creativity, and rejuvenation. David, a 38-year-old writer from Portland who overcame monophobia, explains, My therapist suggested I create a solitude menu, a list of enjoyable activities I could only do when alone. I included things like writing in my journal, taking long baths, watching documentaries my partner hates, and practicing guitar. This helped me see alone time as special rather than scary. 5. Building self-reliance. Developing confidence in your ability to handle situations independently can reduce dependency needs. This might involve learning new skills, from basic home repairs to emotional self-regulation. 6. Professional support. For severe monophobia, working with a mental health professional is often necessary. They can provide structured treatment and support throughout the recovery process. Real-life success. Lisa's journey. Let me share Lisa's story, a 34-year-old elementary school teacher from Dallas whose transformation shows what's possible. Lisa's monophobia began after her divorce at age 30. Having married young, she had never lived alone. When her marriage ended, she moved into a small apartment but found herself unable to sleep there alone. For months, she rotated between staying with different friends and family members. I was embarrassed, Lisa recalls. I was an independent woman in every other way, but I couldn't face an empty apartment. The silence felt suffocating. I'd have panic attacks as soon as the sun started setting, knowing night was coming. After her sister gently suggested therapy, Lisa began working with a psychologist specializing in anxiety disorders. Together, they created a gradual exposure plan. Week 1. Spend 2 hours alone in her apartment during daylight with a friend on standby via phone. Week 2. Spend an entire afternoon alone. Week 3. Stay alone until 9 p.m. before calling a friend to come over. Week 4. Spend one night alone with a friend staying in the same building. Week 6. Spend an entire weekend alone in her apartment. The first night alone was the hardest, Lisa says. I used every coping technique my therapist taught me. I had a special playlist, comfort foods, a new soft blanket, and a schedule of activities to keep me busy. I still had anxiety, but I got through it, and each time got easier. Within 6 months, Lisa was not only comfortable in her apartment, but actually enjoying her alone time. A year later, she took a solo vacation to Colorado, something she once thought impossible. Now I actually look forward to my me time, Lisa says. Don't get me wrong, I still love being with friends and family. But I've discovered this whole relationship with myself that I was missing before. There's a difference between being alone and being lonely, and learning that changed everything. Practical tips for daily practice. If you're working to overcome monophobia, here are some practical strategies to incorporate into your daily life. 1. Create a comfort kit. Assemble items that provide sensory comfort when anxiety rises. A soft blanket, calming scented lotion, favorite music, photos of loved ones, or a stuffed animal. Having these security objects can make the transition to being alone easier. 2. Use technology strategically. While dependency on technology can sometimes worsen monophobia, strategic use can help during the transition. Video calls, texting, or even having a podcast playing can create a sense of human connection while you build tolerance for physical solitude. 3. Establish alone time rituals. Create special routines that you only do when alone, whether it's a specific type of tea, a favorite show, or a hobby. This helps reframe solitude as special rather than frightening. 4th, practice soft starts. Begin with being alone in public places like cafes or parks, where others are present but not directly interacting with you. This creates a middle ground between complete solitude and social interaction. 5. Keep a thought journal. When alone, document anxious thoughts as they arise. Writing them down helps create distance from them and allows you to challenge catastrophic thinking. 6. Set small, achievable goals. Success builds upon success. Start with being alone for just 10 minutes, then 20, then an hour. Celebrate each milestone, no matter how small it might seem. the unexpected gifts of solitude. As people overcome monophobia, many discover unexpected benefits of healthy solitude, enhanced creativity and problem-solving abilities, deeper self-knowledge and emotional intelligence, improved ability to be present and mindful, greater appreciation for relationships balanced with healthy independence, increased resilience and confidence. As writer and poet May Sarton beautifully expressed, loneliness is the poverty of self, solitude is the richness of self. The journey to self-companionship. Overcoming monophobia isn't just about eliminating fear. It's about discovering the joy and growth that can come from developing a healthy relationship with yourself. It's about learning that you are enough, complete even when alone. The journey isn't always linear. There will be setbacks and challenges along the way. But with persistence, support, and the right strategies, freedom from the fear of being alone is absolutely possible. Remember Lisa, who went from being unable to spend a night alone to enjoying solo vacations? Or David, who created his solitude menu and transformed his relationship with alone time? Their journeys show what's possible when we face our fears instead of letting them define our boundaries. If you're struggling with monophobia, know that you're not alone in your fear of being alone. Millions share this challenge, and many have found their way to the other side, to a place where solitude brings peace rather than panic. Thank you for joining me today on this exploration of monophobia. If you found this helpful, please consider subscribing and sharing with others who might benefit. Remember, understanding our fears is the first step toward freedom from them. Until next time, take care of yourself, both in company and in solitude.